right? Because that is the only thing that they're paying money for. Their housing costs them nothing.
They say you open the fridge and you see no food. Or
Right.
¿Qué
That's
dijo?
why every 6 months, one family member less.
Dios mío, qué horrible.
So you got that vision, huh? Okay. All right. So, when you buy a home, you know you're going to have to make a down payment. We're going to talk about that in a couple minutes with PMI down over here. Closing costs. When you buy a house, you will have to pay certain closing costs. I'm going to ask you some of them on quizzes. You're going to have to do it as part of your midterm as well. There are usually about 15 closing costs, some more than others. I want to make you aware of them. You can actually go online, do it yourself. There's a bunch of them on the sheets that you do have. And here, I just did a search for closing costs on Google. So I want to mention a few. Appraisal. An appraisal is an independent person coming out and saying what the house that you want to buy is worth. You're going to have to pay for that. You're going to have to pay for a credit report on yourself, because we're not loaning you any money until we know if you have a good chance of paying it back. Pardon?
Can't you get one for free?
An appraisal on a home, the odds are no, but I will tell you some banks do tell you, come to us, we'll give you your appraisal for free. So, well, the credit report is something they have to draw. You're entitled to get one for free, because I did say that when we were doing credit. But no, when a bank pulls a credit report, they have to pay for it. You're the one who's entitled to get one for free, not the bank. We're going to pay closing an escrow fee, and so escrow is a type of an account that is designed to hold money for three purposes. One is a down payment, the other is for your home insurance, and the other is for your property taxes. We're not going to trust you to pay your insurance once a year. We're not trusting you to pay your taxes. Every month, you're going to pay 1/12 of your 2% insurance. Every month, you're going to pay 1/12 of your 2% property taxes. And as you pay that bill, that money is put aside at the bank or in the attorney's office, and at the end of the year, they will make that payment for you. Just like we did for the home and the buying cars that we did the other day. So when you do buy your house, you do have to have your down payment, and then you have to have your property taxes. You'll divide it by 12 and put it on your spreadsheet, which I'm going to actually still do in a few minutes. I just want to go over a couple of these. A title search and the title is essential. That thing that you're buying, you got to make sure that nobody says, "Oh, it's mine," or he says the other person who owned the house owes him money, they didn't pay. We put what's called a lien, L-I-E-N, on your home, which means you may buy something that you're going to be responsible for paying things that you shouldn't be responsible for. A title search, getting clear title, is very important. That's usually $1,000 to $2,000 by itself. So a title search and the title. Survey. We want to know your house isn't really on somebody else's property. So they come out today. We do it even with satellites today, but you may have seen those guys with the sticks in the road.
Yeah.
Okay, those are surveyors. And they have very precise cameras, and they're taking a situation of where you are, because properties have what's called easements on them. You can't put your house on your property anywhere you want. There are laws. You can't put a hedge in certain places. You may be infringing on the Florida Power and Light easement. And if so, you're going to be responsible for paying for it. So survey fees, courier fees. Okay, to get papers back and forth, I may hire a courier. You're going to be the one who pays for it. The title insurance I already talked to you about. Your attorney's fees, you're going to have to pay for your attorney's fees. That's a closing cost that you would have. Pest controls, we're going to have somebody come out and check that our house isn't infested with termites or other things. In the north, we have to check for radon gas. Okay? Home inspection fee. A good home inspector is well worth the money, anywhere from $500 to $2,000. They'll go through everything. When we got my daughter's house, it's actually a year already, it's hard to believe. 2 inspectors came out to that house, they were there all day. They went through every part of that house, I had already done that. Okay, and then we compared notes, and everything that needed to be taken care of got taken care of. Okay, so I want you to know basically, however, closing costs, here's another number for you, is 2% of the house, approximately. But this 2% is not part of your budget. This comes out of your pocket. So this is a one-time fee that's going to be paid. It's an out-of-pocket expense. It's not part of your monthly payment. This is a one-shot deal. You buy a $500,000 house, $10,000 in closing costs expected to pay. Many parts of the country, you buy an expensive house, like my daughter's, you're going to pay an extra 2% just because the government says we need your money. So all these kind of things are part of closing costs. But for what we're doing in class here, 2% are closing costs. Any questions?
2% of the house?
2% of the house.
After the
Not after. The actual price of the house. That's all right. Close enough. Okay, so we took care of that. Keep in mind, when you move into a house, you're gonna have to buy blinds for the windows. You're gonna have to put shelf liners in, garbage cans, fill up the refrigerator with food. These are also costs that you're gonna have. Usually $4,000 or $5,000 just to get you started. And then depending upon the size of the house, the window treatments alone could cost you $10,000, $15,000. Okay, you better have some money. Lawn maintenance. Real estate taxes we already talked about. You'll be paying 1/12, that'll be on your budget. General upkeep, mowing the lawn, putting in new plants, fertilizing, all this other stuff. Insurance, it's 1/12. That's going to be paid as part of your budget. But this now I need to explain. PMI, private mortgage insurance. If you are allowed to buy a house with less than a 20% down payment because your credit is good, the bank says, okay, we'll let you do that, but if you had a 30-year mortgage at 4%, it won't be 4%. We're going to add 1/4% to that. And it's called private mortgage insurance because your down payment wasn't big enough. So 0.25% must be added to any interest rate that you get if your down payment is less than 20%. Now, when we do the midterm, are you okay? You need to sit up. When we do the midterm, again, you will be put in whatever groups that I think you need to be put in. You all won't have the same thing. We are going to come up to the front, and we're going to spin the wheel of life. We're going to see how many kids you have. We're going to see how much money you make. And so last term, I had one group who had 6 kids and had a $60,000 a year income. And they actually made it. They made the budget work. They actually did some very unique things. But you're going to have all those choices. You can do whatever you want to do to come in and live a life. Yeah.
Don't you get money back from the government if you have a certain amount of kids?
You do, and so the second half of the year, we are, actually, it's not that. It's not so many, how many kids you have. Because already I see Bernie thinking, hey, I have 72 children. It's probably plenty of money back. It's called an earned income credit, okay, that if you're poor, you will get some money back, but not per child. One of the guys who, again, unfortunately this man is going to be remembered for all the wrong things. Now he's going to remember for having a liar for a wife also. His name's Clinton. He's one of the first ones to come out and say this welfare stuff is ridiculous. The more children you had, the more money the government gave you. And Bill Clinton, a Democrat, said, you people are nuts. No wonder they're having 14 children. because they get more money from the government by having children. And he said, no more. Now you have 2 years to get off of welfare. You will not get extra money past a certain amount of money. That's it. And you control yourself. Okay? There's no more money for the government. Guess what happened? People on welfare came off of welfare. They got jobs because they knew the government was no longer going to support them. Not everybody, of course. Okay. Any questions on PMI? Private mortgage insurance, yes.
Alright, if you paid less than 20, what was the percentage that you had to for a down payment?
0.2, well, no, I didn't say that for down payment. I just said for the interest on your mortgage, you will add 0.25%. Okay? And of course, if you have bad credit, you will not even be able to buy a house. So 20% is what most are looking for. Okay, this is about affordability. If you are making $100,000 a year, you can afford a home for about $300,000. It's 3 times your gross income. That's your income before taking off any taxes. That's about almost everybody, give or take, 3 times the amount of money that you earn. That's the entire house you can afford. So if you're making $100 grand, if you think you can go out there and buy $1 million home, you're crazy. You'll never be able to afford it. And you'll get to see why as we do some of the projects. So make sure you know that. Points, paying points. Your mortgage banker will say to you, would you like to pay points? Instead of paying 4% interest, I can get it down to 2%. Wow, this is great. My monthly payments will be less. How much do I have to pay? Something like that, you'd probably have to pay about $8,000. That's cash up front. But the problem is you're so stupid, you don't know how to do the math to see when the break-even point would be. And in most cases, the break-even point to pay points is around 8 to 12 years.